Hey, what is up, plant nerds? Good to see you here. As always on the channel, Grassroots Gardening. I'm Ryan, and our channel is all about plants, landscaping, anything green, anything that has roots or a flower or leaves. You're gonna find it here on this channel. But today, we've got, let's see, let me move out of the way a little bit. That guy right there is a Scindapsus, and he needs to be repotted. He's not doing all that great. And so we're gonna take him outside and get him potted up. But before we do that, let me show you one other really cool thing here in my living room. If you guys saw my houseplant video that I did not too long ago, you remember this Monstera Peru on this new shelf that I built? Look at how long this thing has got. Let's see if we can count how many feet we think it is. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, probably 15, 16, 17. This thing is pushing 20 feet long. Let me back up a little bit so you can just see how long that thing has gone. Isn't that cool? I'm so proud of that little guy, man. He has just done awesome. So again, that's a Monstera Peru. And I've kind of just laced him up through some of those pots up on the shelves there. Now I think it's really cool too, how you've got these pictures of leaves right here, and then he's just kind of curled up in between them. I did a talk not too long ago about plants in the home and just making them do crazy things, and well, that's one example right there. But the guy we're going to be focusing on today is the Scindapsus right here. Let's go up the ladder. Let me see if I can hold the camera and not fall off. But see what we got going on here, guys? He's definitely not happy. Now, I will say, this is the hottest part of the house. Now, we're out of wintertime going into summer, so the stove's not running. But back during the winter, I'd build a fire in this thing pretty much every day when it was cold. It kind of heats the whole house for us. So this is one of the hottest, driest corners in the whole home. And so he just suffers from that. But right now, I think the problem is he's just in much too small of a pot. He's just in this little, this is probably an 8-inch little plastic pot. And I'm noticing when I'm watering him, water's just pouring out really fast down into the collection tray. And so that means he might even be hydrophobic. So the soil can get so dry until it repels water and the water can't get down to the roots. So we're gonna go ahead and grab him, and I'm gonna very carefully hold the camera and the plant. And crap, he's hooked in this little hook right here. Try to get the safely down this ladder and talk to you guys and hold everything. And he's hooked to all kinds of stuff, and we're about to drop that little shovel. Nope, we did it. Look how long this guy is. He's got to be pushing probably 10 feet, but he is definitely not happy. And I'll show you guys a little bit better when we get outside, but the soil is already pulled away from the pot. So he definitely is in need of some repotting. Let's go over here to our secret little potting nook and look at our raised bed, you guys. I gotta come back after we get done potting this thing up and show you all the plants. We are in full-time growing season right now. Stuff is growing so fast. And I feel like y'all probably get bored of me showing you the same old stuff all the time. But I want to keep you updated and just show you how the garden's growing and how the landscape's coming together. So that's even a better reason now to hit that like and subscribe down there and the little bell. And anytime we put out a video, you guys will be notified. Yeah, this guy's in serious need of some help. I mean, he still looks pretty healthy. Down here on the growing end, the leaves look fine. Stems look good. Even got a bunch of new growth, but he's dropping these leaves up here closer to the pot, and yeah, it's just dry. I can stick my finger down in there. It's kind of like crunchy and crusty. So he needs some new soil and a bigger pot. So let's see if we can't help him out. All right, guys, I went around to our little pot storage area. I found this this is a 12-inch hanging basket pot. So you can see the size difference. Let's see, back up a little bit. Going from the 8-inch to the 12-inch. We don't want to step him up too big all at once. And the reason is when you water a plant, obviously gravity is going to take all the water down to the bottom of the pot. And that's where it's going to stay, you know, kind of the most moist, where the roots would like to be and have constant, you know, or more constant moisture. So if we were to go into a ginormous pot, then the roots would be way up here and our moist, good moist soil would be down in the bottom. So that's why you kind of stagger or step up as you're potting up. You can't just go from a, you know, let's just say from a 1 gallon to a 7 gallon container. You got to kind of gradually move them up so that those roots are able to stay in that more consistently moist soil, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Anyway, got a 12-inch pot, got us a bag of Happy Frog, and also I'll put a link to everything that we use in the description below. But first, let's go ahead, let me get you guys set down and get the camera kind of angled a little bit like that, and let's go ahead and take him out. So what we're gonna do, and he is really dry, you can hear how crunchy he is. I'm just gonna squeeze this pot on all sides and see if we can coax him into coming out. Okay, yeah, he definitely is ready for a bigger pot. And you see this little drainage filter thing that was in the last pot. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get that off because we're probably gonna rip all those roots off, and I don't want to do that. So we're just going to leave him, and I'm just going to kind of go around the side here and just unravel these roots just a little bit so that they can find the new soil and not keep choking one another, and they can just kind of go on out in search of water and food and the new Happy Frog material. Look at how dry this stuff is, you guys. So what was happening, that water was just running right down the side of the soil, down the side of the container and out, and it's not getting into the middle of this old dry and probably hydrophobic soil. When soil gets so dry, it actually will repel water. And so we're gonna kind of break that up. Just kind of stick my finger down in there, loosen that up a little bit, bop it a little bit, and just kind of get it loosened up. And that should be okay right there. Okay, now see how far down that root ball is going in this container? He's a good 2 to 3 inches down below the edge. And so what we want to try to do is get the existing level of soil about 1 inch or so below the top of the pot. That way when we do water it, water won't run over the side, and it'll have a little bit of room to kind of collect and then drain down through that media. So we're going to put a little bit of soil down in the bottom of this container to elevate him just a little bit. So I'm just going to grab the old container, dump in our Happy Frog, probably add just a little bit more because we can always wiggle him down in there a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of fluff this up. And this is great soil right here. It drains well, but then it also holds moisture pretty good too. We use it a lot down at Grassroots at the nursery. And then too, you know what we need to do before we get him in here? We need to go through here and just go ahead and get these dead leaves off, because they're just going to fall anyway, and we don't want them falling in our house. So I tell y'all what, to make it easier on us, I'm just gonna put him in this hanging container that doesn't have anything in it. And sorry, I'm sure the camera's all over the place. I'm trying to do 3 things at once. So now we got him kind of hanging up here, and we can go through and remove all these dead leaves. He has got a ton of dead leaves on him, but I mean, the plant still looks good, you guys. Look how long this thing is. It's a beautiful plant. Also, if you can see this thing right here, it's not a dead rat hanging off of my shirt. It's kind of windy out here, and I noticed in some of my videos I've been doing outside, the wind kind of makes that rustling noise on the mic. So I got me a new, what they call a dead cat, I think Miss Kimberly called it, which I missed my friend, by the way. Hey, Miss Kimberly, If you see this video, you better put a comment in below and say hi. She moved down, so Kimberly is my friend who has a channel called Pretty Over 50. Super sweet lady. I met her at the nursery probably about a year ago now. We became friends. She's got a crazy popular YouTube channel. But she moved down to Florida recently, and she sent me a text the other day to say hey. So maybe we'll get down to Florida here before the summer's over and say hey to Miss Kimberly. But anyway, I ramble. She's the one that told me this thing's called a dead cat because it's just a ball of fur. But anyway, it muffles the wind, and I get sidetracked real easily, you guys. But I think we've got about enough dead leaves off of this plant now, off the Scindapsus. And this is not a named, well, it could be, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what cultivar this is. There's a lot of different types of Scindapsus. And you can see this one has got some really pretty silver markings. Hopefully the camera's in focus. They've got a bunch of different varieties of Scindapsus, but it's a cool house plant. And this one's gonna be much, much happier when we get him in the new container here. And now during pot up would be a good time, since we had those mealybugs inside the house not too long ago, would be a good time to go ahead and add some of our systemic insecticide. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that in there. It doesn't have them on it currently, but we're just going to do it as a protective measure, just because we did have mealybugs in the house. So if they were to get on this guy, that will take care of them. And so I'm just going to kind of wiggle him down in that soil. You can kind of see we have the top of the root ball about an inch below the rim like we had wanted. And I'm just going to kind of even break up this soil a little bit further. Oh, and something else we're going to go ahead and add while we're repotting is some of our Osmocote slow release 6-month feed. That way all you got to do is water the plant for 6 months and it's going to get fed. So I'm going to sprinkle about 2 tablespoons of Osmocote 6-month slow release down into there. Then I'm going to grab my container with some more Happy Frog, and we're just going to come in here and I'm just going to dump it. I'm not going to be all careful with trying not to cover up leaves and that type of stuff, because what we're going to do is just come in here now and kind of massage and press a little bit, press that soil all down around that root ball. And I've got a little bit too much, so I'm going to scoop some out and just keep working it around. You can kind of slam the pot on the table a little bit. Not slam it, you don't know what I mean. Bop it, whatever. Just kind of get that soil settled down there in those root voids and where we kind of tore the soil up on the old dirt a little bit. And that's pretty much all we got to do right there, guys. She is potted up, she's got her fertilizer, and she's got her slow release. So now what I'm going to do before taking it back in, we're not going to take it back in probably at all today. We're going to go ahead and just water this girl in and let her stay outside for a little bit and get some somewhat filtered sunlight. That's one thing you do have to be careful with if you're going to try to do something like this outside, which I love to do because I can just make a mess with the leaves. This would be pretty messy inside. If you have to do it, you have to do it. But if you're going to do something like this outside, make sure that you're under some shade. Like we've got our pergola here with this trumpet vine covering it. It's going to kind of duplicate interior light. Anyway, my point being, she's not going to get burnt sitting out here outside. I got my hose pipe here, you guys. Got it set to shower. And then we are just going to soak this thing because that soil, the old soil is hydrophobic. The new soil is going to love this moisture. But what I want to happen is that old soil to really just get a good soaking and suck up all that water so that we can rehydrate that soil. See it sucking it on down? That's going to be beautimous for this plant right here. This is what it's been needing. And see how it's just sucking it right on down through the center now? Whereas earlier it was running around the side like we had talked about. So I'm just going to really soak it. We don't have a drip tray underneath, so I'm not worried about drowning it because all this water, excess moisture, is just going to go right out the bottom. And you can see the water is just pouring out now. And now you can see the water is just pouring right out the bottom. We're gonna leave her just like that. And she's gonna be happier than a pig in slop here in a few weeks and putting out a lot of new growth. But that thing is really long. It's a beautiful plant. All right, now we got our Scindapsus potted up. Let's go take a look around the pool area, give you a quick little update there on our proven winners, and then we'll take a look at the garden too. It's an absolute gorgeous day today, y'all. The birds are singing. I still want to get out here, and my son's done left his socks outside again. This is a real world YouTube, real life YouTube channel here, guys. So there's no telling what you may see. But what I was trying to say is I still want to come in here and rip up all these rocks and put them back down. It just looks kind of crappy. But the birds are making a mess right here with the feeder, and the damn raccoon is still coming up every night. Look what he's done to my window, trying to get up to get the peanuts or whatever he's wanting out of the bird feeder. He's about to drive me insane, but it makes a mess out here. Anyway, we're going to redo this eventually, but holy crap, look at these Roma tomatoes. We've got flowers on them, and they have just quadrupled in size with the rain that we just got. Matter of fact, let's go see how much we got before we get into this. Man, more than I thought. This was over just the weekend. We got over 2.5 inches of rain. It has been coming down, but the grass is loving it, and all the plants are loving it too. All right, see how easily I can get distracted, you guys? Let's go back up here. Our onions are doing fantastic. We might have to check these here pretty soon because they are just getting crazy big. I'm excited about that. And again, the Roma tomatoes, man, they have just exploded. Now what we're gonna have to do is come in here and thin these guys out a little bit too. So we'll make another video on that. But we just got too many runners going every which way. So we're gonna prune these guys up so that we get larger, healthier tomatoes. And holy crap, I didn't even see this. We've already got tomatoes. Heck yeah. Look how healthy these guys look. Look at that, isn't that awesome? Romas are such a delicious tomato. So I am really excited about that. And our cabbage, like I told you in previous videos, I've never done good with cabbage, but we got us a daggum cabbage patch right here. Starting to form the head. That is freaking awesome. And then our broccoli, I didn't harvest it in time. This is what happens when you don't harvest your broccoli when you're supposed to. It's kind of neat because we kind of got a time lapse. So waited too late. Yep, too late. Still good and perfect. So we got to get out here and get those soon before they go to flower here in the next few days. I still am not going to pull up this damn carrot because if y'all remember my embarrassing carrot video, when we pulled it up there was nothing. I'm just going to let this thing keep going. We're going to get us a big carrot one of these days, guys. Leaf lettuce, we've been making salads and I've been using it on sandwiches, but it's fixing to go to flower as well. See there? So it won't be long and this is going to be really no good for eating purposes. This, what is this, y'all? Is this our radish? Look at the size of this thing. Like, I haven't been out here in just a couple of days, but I swear that thing has grown 2 feet in 2 days. Oh man, we got to find out what it is now. Let's go ahead. Oh, no, I'm stupid. Never mind, this is our parsley. Okay, it has grown incredibly fast, but I forgot that I planted parsley. We had those radishes planted here. I hope I just didn't kill this damn thing. Wow, this is some gardening show, right guys? Anyway, that is the parsley that I just ripped out of the ground. Hopefully he'll root back. I might have to edit this part out of the video. Anyway, moving on, we've got our Super Sweet 100 cherry tomato, putting on some little cherries right there. This thing is just going to town. It's gonna get pretty out of control. And Traditionally, what I've done is just hook him to that trellis over there. But now the trumpet vine has gone pretty crazy and there's not a lot of room. So we may have to find us another option of staking that guy up. All right, let's walk down to the pool area real quick, y'all. This Mojito Colocasia, look at that cool leaf. He's doing really good in this little container. Got him in there with a little celosia. And then this celosia has done awesome. This is the Intense purple. He's doing great in his little pot there. And then look at this bee balm. So this is Monarda. This is a Proven Winners selection. I forget the actual name of it, but it is just doing absolutely amazing. Look at the size of that dude. Now over here on the other side, come on camera, you can do it. There you go. On the other side is just a regular old bee balm, and it's still pretty in its own right, even though the flowers are fading a little bit. But just look at the size difference in your regular Monarda and then your Proven Winners. That's why I grow Proven Winners right there. Let's see what else we got going on. We've got a Agapanthus loaded. This one's it's a purple one. I forget the name of it, but there's the actual plant right there. But look how tall that flower spike is. That thing's going to be beautiful here in the next few days. We got a lamb's ear over here that's doing great right next to this little dwarf holly. And then these drift roses, I'd wanted to come in here and prune them, but I kind of want to just see how they're going to grow and what their natural habit is. But they're called a ground cover rose, and they're not a true ground cover, but you can see how they kind of want to just grow horizontally. But they just flower their heads off. They're such a cool growing rose. So if you need a rose that stays low in an area, can take absolute full sun and pretty tough, drift rose is a really good one you might want to consider. And our Scaviola, this is the Whirlwind White from Proven Winners. It's doing fantastic down here in this little pot. The white just adds so much to the landscape. It really pops, you know, versus all your pinks and reds and that stuff. I like the white, just looks clean and looks really nice in this container. Our coffee cups Colocasia are popping up. This is one of my favorite plants. I talk about it all the time. This is the one that will collect the water when it's raining and then tip it out and stand right back up to do it all over again. It's so fun to watch while it's raining. Probably get about 6 foot tall, and I'm glad because I've got it on either side of the patio, and it'll kind of just be a neat clump formation as you come down the steps. And it's so fun to watch during the rain. Let's go check on my little frog guy here. A little cool little container we have at the nursery. I put some sedum in his back, and it seems to be doing pretty good. This guy doesn't have irrigation. That's why I chose sedum, because it can go a lot longer without water. Our Dichondra in the welcome pots is doing what it's supposed to do. Look how it's just going to trail down right there. Exactly what I wanted it to do. Then in our boat planter that we did a few weeks back, this Euphorbia is really not doing what I want it to do. And it's because this Nemesia, which I'm in love with, it has done great. Let's see which one this one is. This one's the Sunsatia Blood Orange. Look at the size of that dude. And he's just trailing over the pot. But he has really kicked this little Euphorbia's butt. I've been trying to kind of like keep him off of it. We got a little weed there. But he needs some more sunlight. I wanted this guy to get big in the middle, but these plants on either side have not helped him out a lot. And then this Osteospermum Bright Lights Horizon Sunset is doing fantastic too. I just love this flower. It's got cool colors and it's iridescent, kind of changes that purple in the center. Really pretty flower. Our Super Bells is doing wonderful in his little pot. I love these Calibrachoas. They just make such a neat little mounding plant. This one's Holy Cow, I believe. Yeah, Super Bell's Holy Cow. And then check this out, y'all. This is a Plumeria that I had down in the jungle greenhouse. Brought him up here, and look what he has done after the rain. Isn't that just a gorgeous flower? Got kind of that yellow throat. These are tropical, so he can't stay out here during the winter. We got to put him in the greenhouse, but I just put the container inside of a container so we can easily just pick him up and move him to the greenhouse when it gets cold, which is gonna be a long way away, and I'm glad because I love summertime. I love being outside and everything's just pretty and green. So we're not even gonna talk about winter right now. All right, this is the Flambe yellow. I can't pronounce that name, Chrysocephalum, I think it is. But this thing has really impressed me just by its rate of growth. It's growing really quickly, but just look at the blooms, and it stayed like that ever since it was little. It's just always been full of these really bright yellow blooms. That's a winner in my book. And then next up, we've got the Supertunia limoncello. Beautiful lemon colored flowers, hence the name limoncello. I'm gonna put his tag back. And his growth rate's been pretty good too. He's filled up that pot pretty quick, and just a ton and ton of flowers. And my little Angelonia up here, he has not done that great. And I think even though we had all that rain, I don't think this pot's draining well enough for him, and the soil's staying moist, and he's not liking that one bit. So we may have to kind of see if we can clean the drain hole or get him draining a little bit better. Have to check into that. I removed the drip stake just because I knew he was getting too wet. And then what we got here, I forget. This is another Osteospermum. This is Bright Lights yellow. It's done really well over here. Kind of fills up that container just right. And bright, bright yellow flowers. I like this guy too. And then this guy, as usual with Proven Winners is this how you say that? With their Vista series, anything with the name Vista on it is just a incredible grower. Just look at the size of this guy. I mean, you hardly can even see the pot anymore, and that dark, dark purple. I mean, the camera's probably not doing it justice, but it looks black in the center, and it also looks like it's just neon, like it's glowing. Well, this one we're definitely going to grow again next year. I'm loving this Supertunia Mini Vista Midnight. One thing I forgot to show you guys up here in our raised bed, I planted us some squash by seed recently, and it's popped up with all this rain, so we've got a couple little squash plants in here. I also planted this chile de arbol, so that means pepper tree, if you were to translate it literally. This is a really fantastic little pepper for cooking, but it's very hot. So we'll watch him grow. And I also got some sage here, some basil, all kinds of stuff, but our raised bed is doing fantastic. Just look I'm so proud of this cabbage, y'all. I've never done well with cabbage, but I think we got to owe the success to just using a lot of organic compost that we composted ourselves, as well as the land and sea compost from Espoma. This is all organic, no man-made fertilizer, and it's just doing wonderful. All right, I'm gonna shut up now. Appreciate you guys watching. Click that like and subscribe down there for me, and we'll continue to watch this garden grow. We've got a lot going on in the driveway right now. Still haven't made my order for all the plants, but I've been planning a few little things. So this is one of those evolving channels. So hit that little bell down there for the notifications, and I'm just gonna keep you guys posted. Leave me a comment. I love to get your mail. And until then, remember, the more you know, the more you grow. See you on the next video, guys.